Hi, this is Gregory Walker, Global Creative Director of the Brothers Network, here with Valerie Gay, who I've known for a really long time, and we're really happy to share a little bit more with you all about her King Crush Thursdays. Valerie, tell us about King Crush Thursdays.
Sure. So the idea is to highlight and uplift black men, because frankly, not too many people are doing it.
Let's just reiterate that. Highlight and uplift black men. So that's why she's here with us today.
Yes.
Keep going, sister. Keep going.
Because the reality is that we all need each other and we need to support each other. And I realized that not too many people were supporting black men.
She realized it. She realized it. We need more women and men and people of color and people of non-color to realize it. Keep going, Valerie.
Yes.
Keep going.
So it happened. It started a while ago, a few years ago. A friend of mine, his name is Carvin Higgins. He's a black man. He on Wednesdays was in his Instagram post. He would show a video clip and then write something to women, like a poem. He's an award-winning songwriter and producer. And so I realized I was starting to look forward to Wednesdays.
Sure.
But I couldn't figure out why. And he, in his hashtags, it was like QCW. And I was like, what is QCW?
QCW, hashtag, right?
And then finally it was like Queen Crush Wednesday. And I'm like, oh. And I realized, like, oh, I feel uplifted. Then I started reading the comments, and all the women were commenting like, "Thank you, King. Thank you, thank you."
That's right.
One day in my feed, somewhere early 2019, a beautiful post came through my feed, and it was all these different people. It was a love poem to the black man. It was like, "Dear Black Man." It was all these different people saying this beautiful poem. And I was like, oh, this is great, and I want to repost this. And I sent it to the young woman who works with me with my Instagram stuff, social media stuff. It's like, show me how to repost this. And then as I was writing it, I was like, somebody should do the brothers. Wait, I'm going to do the brothers.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
And then honestly, I chose Thursday rather than any other day because I wanted to come behind the king.
That's right.
To support the king.
That's right. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Come behind the king to support the king.
So because if he had Queen Crush Wednesdays, then I was going to do King Crush Thursday. That's how it started.
Wow.
But also because I am not a producer and who can sit and look at films all day and curate films, I was like, I don't have time for that. So what I did was I grabbed my camera and I went everywhere I was in the world.
Right.
If I saw a black man, I'd walk up to them and say, and actually I remember saying this to you at 30 Americans.
That's right.
Hi, my name is Val.
Well, I know you for a long time, so
but
she didn't say that part.
I didn't say that part, but I was like, I have this social media a series where I highlight and uplift black men. Can I take your photo?
Yes.
And a little video?
Yes.
And if you have social media, I'll tag you. That was it. So then I would take all these images and then I would curate them thematically. So it would be, for example, I curated essential workers. And these essential workers were men who are out just working.
That's right. That's right.
And
black men working, ladies and gentlemen. This is the normative idea.
Absolutely. People who are walking by them, right?
Right.
And so one of them happens to be one of the men who takes the trash. In my, and I said to him, I said the same thing. He was like, sure, sis. And I was like, and I started to take his photo. He goes, wait, let me grab my cans. And then he grabbed it. He wanted his photograph to be taken with the garbage cans. He goes, these cans have educated my 4 children.
Can we say it again?
Right.
These cans have educated my 4 children.
And it was so powerful to hear him say that. So I would curate things. So I have a series, one on doctors, for example. Like, did you know, like 5% of all the doctors are black men?
That's right.
That's
right.
Did you
5%.
Know,
I'm just echoing. 5% doctors, black men.
Right. And so going through all of those curations. But then the person I work with, her name is Zamira Scott. She's amazing. She always pushes me. She was like, Val, I think you need to move this into interviews. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. She kept pushing me, and I thought, okay, fine. So I got a banner made, a logo made. And I was going to get a pop-up banner. I had this idea. It was going to be turned into a podcast. And I was going to take my banner and my Zoom microphone.
Right.
And it was going to be podcast in the truck. So I was going to take my camera and my and wherever you were, we'd pop up the thing and we would have King Crush Thursday the interview. But then the Rona hit. I was like, now what are we going to do?
Well, we're going to do this. That's what we're
right?
going to do.
And so basically, then I realized, wait, I don't need a banner. I have everything I need. I have all of the materials.
It's up here. Right?
It's up here.
That's right.
And so we started using Zoom as the platform, and I started reaching out. So now King Crush Thursday is now an interview series where I interview one man a week, or I premiere one man a week, and we have 6 questions. The same 6 questions, and we're on our way to 100 Black men answering these questions.
I'd like to be number 100. I got an ego. I'd like to be number 100.
You're in the mix. But I got 100 in my mind has already been taken.
Oh my goodness!
I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness!
He doesn't know it yet.
Cancel the interview. No. Go ahead.
But
as long as I get up to the 100,
yes,
I'm good.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're in the mix. You're in the mix. And the idea is really, what would it look like to have this repository of 6 questions answered by 100 different Black men?
That's right.
Because my goal is, what would it look like if a young king who may or may not have positive Black role models in his life, for him to go to this repository and see all of these disparate answers and perhaps find guidance there.
Yeah. And let me just echo how important that is. That is critical. Because you said may or may not. Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Black men are in the middle and they don't even know this other thing exists.
Yes.
So it's a both and. And the other piece is that there are Black professionals and young and old people who don't know that other people would be interested in what they have to say.
That's exactly right.
Right?
That's exactly
so it's a both and.
It is
really.
a both and.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of us who are neither male and or even Black, for us to take to get an insight into this, heretofore very narrowly defined group of people, and the narrow definition is usually very nefarious and dangerous and all these things. And that is a microcosm of the community.
I say it's a myth, but you say microcosm.
And the reason I say microcosm because the reality is environments have bred some of what they see, right? So the reality is.
But we have to start with the assets.
Yes,
we have to start with the assets.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's why we're so aligned.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Because I would even say, when I say the microcosm, so the camera will show a brother doing whatever. Right. We don't know why that brother did that.
That's right.
We don't know why Raheem is on the street doing whatever. Right. But if I can go up and talk to Raheem.
That's right.
Because I live in the cut. I choose to live in Southwest Philadelphia. Right. I am surrounded by beautiful people.
That's right.
Who other people see in a negative light. But I have a beautiful community. Right. Who take care of me, who watch out for me. I watch out for them. Right. Down to
the beautiful and beloved community.
Absolutely. Yes, I love my neighbors. I love my community so much.
And it's not only here in Philadelphia we'll talk about, because this airs obviously
it's
not only in the United
over.
States, but all over the world. There's a place where Black men are misguided.
Absolutely.
In terms of how they're perceived and misperceived. And so you and I, for a long time, have known the truth. Right. It's such a pleasure to chat with you about this because you are a Black woman. Right. Oftentimes, people hear the term the Brothers Network and they immediately think it's not a space for women. Right. But it's very much a space for queens like you and women like you who understand the intersectionality and the importance of sharing multiple and positive and truthful narratives about Black men. So I, as the Global Creative Director, just want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. We've been working on trying to have this conversation for some time. Yeah. And because we're both busy doing our work, which this is a part of, we have not been able to have this discourse. Right. But thank you. And let Val Gay be a role model to everyone. Everyone. Not only Black women, but everyone. About you don't have to be a man to understand the importance and value that men, especially Black men, add to the discourse and have always added to the discourse. Always added.
Absolutely. First of all, we need each other, right? We are an ecosystem. And I believe in an ecosystem. First of all, I don't necessarily believe in hierarchy in anything, right? Like that we're human beings.
That's right.
Within the ecosystem, we are inextricably linked to each other.
That's exactly right.
And as Dr. King said, none of us are free until all of us are free.
That's exactly right.
Like, if you're hurt, then I'm hurt.
That's right.
And until we take that mindset, I think, about our community, that I am my brother and my sister's keeper.
That's right.
That, I don't think that we'll be able to move forward. And frankly, I would say, I believe every child belongs to me. right? So if I see a child, and I don't care what body that child is in, if I see a child and the child needs help,
Right.
then that child, they're my, and something, and I would say that I had to come to this realization, particularly around our community, right? So I love calling people brothers and sisters,
That's right.
I love that. But then I realized recently that that's also not nothing that can be problematic. So I call people cousins. Hey cousin, how you doing?
Right. Well, you can call me brother.
I can call you brother, right?
Brother,
but sometimes, people like if I'm not sure, or I could call them cousin because again, we're a part of a family.
That's correct.
And that we have to think in a family mindset. And in my mind, for me, family equals positive. It's a place where you can belong, where you can be yourself, be with people who are different from you. Because I am not like my sister, but she's my sister, right? And we're in the same family. You know what I mean? And I love her, and I will defend her.
Sure.
Even if we're very different from each other.
That's exactly right.
And so,
but at the root of this, what we're talking about is love.
Absolutely.
The Brothers Network is about love.
That's exactly.
Your King Crush is about love.
It is absolutely about love. One of the things I used to say before I went to the interview was I would start out at the beginning was, "Hey black man, I see you."
That's right.
And then it was Instagram was really before IGTV, so I kept it under a minute. And at the very end, depending on the theme, like in the case of let's say homeless men, I did one on homeless men. This is the only one where I didn't ask their consent to take photos.
I see.
I didn't show any of their faces. I took photos from behind or from the side where you really couldn't identify them. But I said to them, "You're invisible to everyone else, but I see you." And so despite the fact that you're invisible, please know that you're a part of our community.
That's right.
And
you've always been a part of our community.
Always been a part of the community.
Because you're houseless or not houseless doesn't make you less part of the community.
Absolutely.
Right? And because you have money or don't have money doesn't make you less part of the community.
Right. That's exactly right. So at the very end, it's like, so remember this, I see you, we need you, I see you, I'm praying for you, and I love you. And it's very intentional, no matter what, I love you. And love is not just an emotion, love is an action.
That's right.
Right? And so, I stay up sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get my video done because it's about loving the community.
You should call me because I'm up too.
Right? It's about loving the community. And having been raised by a strong, amazing, dichotomous black man.
Say it again. Strong, amazing, dichotomous black man.
Who is, my father is strong, but he's such a teddy bear. My father is in the community. People are like, "Oh, Mr. Gay's your father." I was able to move back to my neighborhood and have peace, frankly, and have support immediately when people said, "Wait, aren't you Mr. Gay's daughter?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, we got you." That's powerful. Because it could have been the opposite, right?
But it usually is not the opposite. But there's a false narrative, a false trope that somehow black men are only exclusively dangerous.
That's exactly
You and I dismantle and debunk that myth and misconception every damn day.
Absolutely. And
online, in person, in the art gallery, on Instagram, every place you can be, we are dismantling and debunking that myth and misconception.
That's exactly right, because it is so important. And the reality is, at the end of the day, I see my multiple nephews now, but 4 that I'm talking about particularly when I first became conscious of this. These were little boys. Most of them I saw right after they gave birth. I was like the third person to hold them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And to see them grow up and to be 4 unique individuals.
That's right.
To see how brilliant they are. One is literally a verifiable genius. One is a multi-instrumentalist, talented. Right. One is super focused and athletic.
We're going to have to reciprocate this and change it up. I need to interview them for the Brothers Network.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
They are absolutely, they're amazing, and they're my heart.
Yes.
And for me to think that someone else could look at them and see anything other than what I described breaks my heart and made me want to be much more proactive, intentional. Right? How can I make sure that the world can see them? How can I make sure that they are not, they're now all young men, but when they were younger, how could they not be pushed into manhood too soon? Why can't they just be kids for as long as they can be?
And maybe play and hold toy guns and not get shot by the police.
Right?
Maybe,
all of that.
Maybe
That, right?
Maybe that's realistic.
Our girls are overly sexualized and made it and pushed into adulthood. There's all this research about it. The same thing with the boys. Our boys are overly masculinized, if you will, whatever that is, and pushed into adulthood when maybe they just want to be a little boy and play. And God willing, if we do all the things that we need to do for our families, God willing, they will have a long life, and most of that life will be in adulthood. So let them be kids, right? And so that's part of where I'm coming from too. That I want our young people to be able to live fully their lives.
And we also want to have a space where black men can be playful, right?
Absolutely.
Because we're really playful to begin with, just because that's the organic nature of who people are, humans are. It's just to be playful and be affirmed in that playfulness. And also not be afraid to go outside and play with your toy gun because of this risk of some racist individual is going to misidentify you.
Absolutely.
So you and I are entrenched, and I for the last 15 years, and you obviously as well, longer, because I say that 15 years because of the Brothers Network, but this project has been in your heart and your mind, but you've also been doing it in every possible thing that you do in every other aspect of your life.
Yes, and I'm grateful for it, and that this is just an expression of it, yes. Because what I realize is once we become cognizant of either the fetters that are on us or the chains that are on our minds.
That's right.
I have a friend, Ruth Amy Floyd, who's amazing. She's an emancipatory artist, and for me, she helps to articulate, so I take her words often, articulate what was going on, like, oh yes. So she talks about how for her it was James Baldwin and Malcolm X and Frederick Douglass.
Can we just slow down?
Yes.
We got to give props to James Baldwin.
Yes.
Okay, let's
Baldwin.
just say it. Thank you.
Malcolm X.
That's right.
Frederick Douglass.
Thank you very much.
Those three brothers, as she says, decolonized her mind.
This is what it is.
Right?
This is what it is.
The decolonization is so powerful because it's, can you be who you are without apology, without casting aspersions on anyone else, just who you are, like being a flower in a bouquet, right? And we all need each other in that way. A beautiful rose by itself is just a beautiful rose, but when you put a rose into with other roses, it's like, oh my gosh, glorious, it's like a pinnacle. But then you take
and we add the baby's breath in there, and it's even more beautiful, right?
And when you take a rose and you put it in with other flowers, it still blossoms beautifully. That's the metaphor that I see for ourselves and our lives, and how I want to be. That my beauty is not diminished by someone else's, and if I claim that I am beautiful, it does not. It doesn't diminish anything that I'm saying about you. And if I say, oh, it's like saying, boy, you're tall. It doesn't mean that I'm short, and it doesn't mean that I don't have height. It just means that you're tall.
And it doesn't mean I have any greater anything because I'm tall
or less than. Right? It's just an adjective.
That's how it is.
And it is what it is.
And that goes back to Baldwin. When you have the audacity to believe in yourself and also understand that you add value just as you are.
Just as you are. It's
just as you are. And that value should be recognized.
That's exactly
and not demonized.
And not demonized. So I'm so glad you said that. So here we are with nature. We're in front of a wall that is a natural wall that was planted. It was intentional that this ivy was planted, but the ivy took over, and the ivy's just doing what it's supposed to do.
That's right.
It's beautiful.
That's right.
It's doing what it's supposed to. It attached itself to this concrete, and it's like, you concrete, but I can still grow on you, and I can be. And the ivy only can be what the ivy can be. If we give it sun and water, it will blossom the way it's supposed to, the way flowers, the way nature blossoms. And I feel like it's the same way for us as human beings. But we also have a responsibility. I have a responsibility in my mind to everyone that I come in contact. First, to be authentic. Second, to recognize the humanity in them, regardless of their size.
That's right.
Right, or how long they've been on the planet.
That's right.
To show respect. Again, regardless of their size or how long they've been on the planet.
Right.
And then finally, to be able to be in community. And recognizing that not everybody wants to be in community, but okay, that has nothing to do with me. I'm still going to be myself. You don't want to be in community? Okay, fine. That's fine. And so I'm really.
I just want to slow us down just a little bit and come back to this brilliant concept around the ivy growing in the concrete, right? So when we sometimes think about plants and flowers, we think about them in a garden, which
Yes.
is lush.
Yes.
But this is growing up and onto
Onto.
concrete.
Yes.
It is counterintuitive, but it's
Yes.
the very nature of
Yes.
the being of who we are.
Yes.
And I am always mindful of when I am walking down the street and I see cracks in the sidewalk, and then I see grass and green, and I see weeds growing up from that concrete. And I think
Right.
that is the metaphor in my mind about life for being a black man. No matter how people try to oppress us,
Yes.
we don't allow it. We just keep driving and going up.
That's
And even when there's
exactly
all concrete, we find some space and we just grow up and out, just
Yes.
as this ivy has done and covered
Yes.
this wall.
Yes.
And
Yes,
this
yes,
is the
yes.
boundlessness of
Yes.
what it means to be black and
Yes.
man and black in the world and a man.
Yes.
It's just boundless.
Yes,
And we want to
absolutely.
dismantle and debunk those myths and misconceptions about a singular narrative that
Mhm.
roots itself in criminality and or jail. That is just
Absolutely.
not true.
It's not true. That's the whole point. And then what I was trying to say is that having been raised by a black man,
Yes.
a strong dichotomous black man.
That's
I say
right.
dichotomous too. My father is, I don't know, 6'3".
Uh-huh.
My brother owned his own construction or
Uh-huh.
contracting business, and when we were little, he would take my brothers with him to work. And my one brother said he did his own scared straight program without ever saying a word. Because one day he picked up a washing machine and chucked it over his head and put it in the truck. And my brother said they were little. They looked at each other and said, "Noted." Right? And so, but this same man.
This is not someone we want to mess with in any way,
Exactly.
shape, or form
Exactly.
ever, because he's throwing wash machines into trucks.
Exactly.
Up over set like it's nothing.
Right?
This is not someone we want to mess with.
But the same man would come home and get on the floor and we'd play horsey.
Yeah.
Right? Or,
He had that endurance from throwing washing
Exactly.
machines so he could be the horsey.
Exactly.
He
Or
had the
to
endurance.
this day, if I'm having a really bad day,
Uh-huh.
I know there's one person on the planet I can call and says, "Come on, honey," and I can sit on my father's lap,
That's
my
beautiful.
daddy's lap, and cry if I need to. You know?
Beautiful.
And then I will also say is also the place, knowing that I have the lap, that when my father sometimes needs to cry,
Yes.
he will with me.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful. Like the full circle is so beautiful.
I love your love affair with black men
Yes.
and black dads and black
And I'm
fathers.
so
I love it.
grateful. I'm so grateful because and first of all, look at us. Like, oh my gosh.
Right.
And
Right.
I have to say, because this really is about love, the verb, and not anything
That's
else.
right. That's right.
That-
Love is the message. To pardon
Yes,
the pun.
absolutely.
Love is the message.
It is the message. I'm so grateful because I've asked literally hundreds of men, like I said, all over the world,
Right.
everywhere I was. My only regret was that when I was in Iceland, I didn't have this concept in my mind because I found 5 black men in Iceland. And
And
three
we'll
of
get
them,
this out to them, and
right?
we'll have them reach back to
and
you.
I was like, yes,
We'll
and
have
3 of
reach
them
back to
actually
you.
lived there. It was amazing. That was
The
really
multiplicity
amazing.
of identity,
Right?
and also black beyond boundaries,
Yeah,
right?
it's so
Brothers in
beautiful.
Iceland. We don't think of
Right?
it, but it's the truth.
But the
right?
brothers in Paris, for example, were
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
I did one on fatherhood, and one was his teen dad, and he was working. We're on the train, and he was soothing his little infant baby and
Yeah.
making the bottle, and just really
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah,
The
black
things that
fathers
we
and
don't
fathers
see.
in Paris in general are really amazing and so
Yes,
hands-on.
yes, really hands-on. I saw
Right.
so many black fathers. It was really wonderful. But the idea is that, I've gone up to people. People have said all these nefarious things. Aren't you afraid? I'm like, no. Aren't you afraid somebody's going to hit on you? Like, actually, I've asked hundreds of people. Only one time I was like, and what you doing? I'm like, and we're not here for that. Like, oh, sorry, sister. Yes, you can take my picture. That was it. And of the hundreds of
Right.
people, only 5 have said no.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
that's also beautiful. Generally, what it's like when I say, I can't take your photo, they're like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
And then they're like this. I'm like, okay, so then I started learning to take video too. I was like, so tell me a little about yourself, and they'll start talking so that I can
Right.
get them moving.
Right.
Because generally, all the photos will be like this, no matter
your
what.
your methodology is very much like that of Kehinde Wiley, who you know.
Yes,
He also goes up to the random stranger, if you will,
yes,
and asks to paint them, photograph them, and paint them. And so
Yes.
we know that from those stories of the man on the street, if you will, amazing things have come.
yes, absolutely. And let me
Right?
just be clear. I know who Kehinde Wiley is. I don't know Kehinde Wiley. However, Sir Kehinde Wiley, if you are looking at this, I would love to know you. I even went to Paris to see your exhibit of the Tahitian, the third gender in Tahiti. It was awesome.
And where have you seen Kehinde Wiley's work before?
I've also seen Kehinde Wiley's work at the Barnes Foundation, where we are. I serve as
where else have you seen it?
I've also seen it at Gregory's house. I've also seen it in West Philadelphia, not that far from my house, and it was beautiful. Rumors of War. That sculpture is gorgeous.
Yeah. I went to New York just to see it, and didn't know it was going to come to Philly.
It came to Philly,
and then I was in Virginia, right? Because I was like, I can't miss it.
It's so powerful,
right. and we'll put that up so people can see Rumors of War, and we'll tag Kehinde Wiley as well.
Yes, please. And it's so beautiful. Like when I saw it, and the reason why it was so powerful in West Philadelphia, because it was just a month or two after the first set of protests.
I just want to say, for those who may not be following all of this conversation, Kehinde Wiley worked for me in San Francisco.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my God! So you can introduce me?
So Kehinde Wiley worked for me in San Francisco, and before he was who he is, he came to work for me, and I saw his work of these massive portraits of black men, which is how I got mine. And I thought, this is fucking genius. Excuse my language. This is fucking genius.
Yeah.
Because I, as a black man, had never seen a picture that large of a black man authentically. And so I said to him, you're going to be very famous. And he talks about this when we have conversations, because I knew at that time that this idea, this image, would be universally accepted. And obviously he's a brilliant painter in his own right, a talented person, and obviously so well known now. But at the time when I met him, he was a college student in art school.
Amazing.
And I hired him to come work on my team. Ironically, it was for an organization called the Brothers Network, which did something completely different. I loved that name, the Brothers Network, and then brought that name to Philadelphia in honor of this work of black men and brothers connecting and sisters connecting, because we understand the multiplicity of identity, and everybody can be part of this and be on the team, because the root is love.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. So I will say this, it's very interesting. The very first time I saw a portrait, because I didn't know his work, right? And I didn't really know, I'm a performer, a performing artist by training. And so I have come lately into visual arts. And so I didn't know his work. But I happened to be on a committee at PAFA, Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, the first real art school in the country. And
he trained many black artists.
And I happened to be on a committee to bring Barclay Hendricks a portion, as he would say, a portion of his retrospective to Philadelphia.
Right. Barclay Hendricks is one of the most famous painters
ever,
and also was influenced by Kehinde Wiley in Connecticut, because Barclay Hendricks is from Connecticut, was living in Connecticut, and he got to meet Kehinde Wiley in Connecticut.
Well, I would say this, Barclay Hendricks is from Philadelphia, and he is a Philadelphian. I'm going to tell the story, because this is really important too about
I'm going to push back to Yale being in Connecticut. I'm a Connecticut person.
Right,
that's where all the good education comes from.
I understand. But he was at Simon Gratz High School, another school that most people think nothing good can come of it.
Yeah.
And he was in art class, and he was really good at drawing and stuff. And it was his art teacher that took him on a class trip, literally half a mile down the road to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. As he said, I heard Barclay Hendricks say this. I walked up the steps, I walked in, I was like, wait, you could do this for a living? And then when he found out people got paid, he was like, wait, what? And he started taking it seriously. It was like 10th grade. He then gets a scholarship, goes to PAFA, where he really starts to develop. But it was in the early 70s. At a time when we really didn't have a voice, when Black Power was really coming into the lexicon, it really wasn't quite yet. So Barclay Hendricks.
Concurrently, though, there was the Black Arts Movement.
There was concurrently the Black Arts Movement. But, arguably, if you are not in the know.
Right. And let me shout out to Philly. All love to Philly. All love to Philly.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're not in the know, or if you were in a place like PAFA at the time, where you may be the only one or one of three.
Sure.
Right? It's kind of hard. But he bucked the trend, and he would go to the people in the street, very much like Kehinde Wiley, and paint his community. But he used a painterly approach. And he did it in a fine art way, not just illustrative, if you will. Did a fine art way. So lifestyle, larger than lifestyle. So at this, and I'm forgetting what year it is, maybe it's 2006, 2007, at the, 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 at
You
the
can go to our
opening.
website to see it because
Yes.
we were there and supported that.
That's
and we
awesome.
brought one of the subjects at Barclay Hendricks to the event.
That is awesome.
His name is Tyrone, and
That's
his painting is called MX Tyrone or Miss Tyrone.
Yes.
Tyrone
yes.
was there,
That's so awesome.
which we brought.
That is so
who was part of the
awesome.
Brothers Network, and then
That's
that intersectional
amazing.
piece.
That is so
yeah.
beautiful. That is
Yeah.
so beautiful because this is what really started to shake the cobwebs out of my head.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe there are any cobwebs in your head at any point in time, not based on the father that you had. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So I saw this man, and because I didn't really know anyone, so I was like kind of going through the. I didn't know you were there, right? So I'm walking through.
I'm never tall enough.
Through the galleries and just looking at appreciating the art. And I ended up near Mr. Hendricks, and so I got to hear his talk. And then what I just said is what he said, right? But then I'm going through it, and then I saw this brother, and he was looking at the painting. He was like, "Damn, that looked like Jimmy. I think that is Jimmy." And then he said the next thing was it was the cobwebs got blown away. The chains fell. He goes, "Damn, Jimmy is beautiful," and that is the nugget of all of this. That at a time, particularly when our community, urban remains a dog whistle for everything nefarious, right? For him to go and paint people the way they were in their bell bottoms in the 70s, with the cigarette hanging out, or the brother on the street, and for him to see beauty in that, which at the same time the narrative is these are people who are demonizing our community. These are people who no one should drive through that community. He lives in North Philadelphia.
So he took a photograph of two black men in Paris, which he also painted, which is also very famous. And I think that this idea of changing the lens, eliminating distortion, bringing what really is truthful and in light, in focus for us as what we do. And so I'm very fortunate that I have had to have the pleasure of having had that education and enlightenment. So long before I met Kehinde Wiley, when he came to work for me, I was enlightened about the brilliance of art and art culture, which is the essential basis of the Brothers Network. Before Black Lives Matter, we were engaged in a discourse around exploring the multiplicity of identity through art, culture, dance, music, in ways that is sustainable. And not saying that Black Lives Matter is not. But I'm simply saying that
there's a continuum.
There's
right?
and your work fits right into that continuum.
And
so
I'm
again,
grateful.
I want to say thank you for this opportunity to chat with you, to hear more about it, and we could go on and on and on. I'm suggesting that we do this again.
Sure, absolutely.
In another format. Is that a yes?
That is a yes.
Okay, that is a yes, because I'd love to talk about art and a discourse with you about art and culture.
Absolutely.
And the multiplicity of identity that comes forward from that, and we find love and beauty in that. Ladies and gentlemen, Val Gay, our pleasure to chat with her today, and you'll see more of these chats on the Brothers Network, on Instagram, and wherever else we post it. Check out her work. Val, tell them where they can find your work.
Sure. So Instagram is at Val Gay Sings. So like I said, I'm a performer. At Val Gay Sings. You can use the hashtag King Crush Thursday. Or Val Gay Sings or Val Gay, and stuff will come up. My website is valgay.com. You can also see all of the videos there, and and like I said, we're on our way to 100.
So when should I set time aside for you? Because I want to do it.
Well, before we leave, I'm going to show you what to do. Because I don't
get to end right away. I got to go through a form.
Right. Because I'm all about efficiencies too. Because I'm a staff of 1.5. And so,
that's perfect.
But and the idea is really that we want to spread our community and spread love in our community. So I just hope that anyone who's watching this I hope that you know that you are appreciated, that you are loved just the way you are. And you may say, I want to improve this, and this. Do it. But know that inside, intrinsically, the human that you are is perfect just the way you are. And we need you. So please get better at what your passion is and your purpose is, because the world needs your purpose. We don't need another Gregory Walker. We don't need another Val Gay. But we do need you. The world needs you to fit into this ecosystem. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.